You can save hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars using these simple tools. There are so many times within Revit that simple tasks take hours to complete and chew up all of your fee that you have for a project. We're going to go through a handful of tools that we've developed that can seriously reduce the amount of time that you're spending on busy work in every single project. We've developed these tools for our own practice, and we're now making them available for anyone to use. This has helped hundreds of architects save time to do whatever they want, whether it's design more or simply just leave the office at a reasonable time. It's also going to help your business become more profitable, help your employees stay happy, and help you meet all your project deadlines. The BIM Depot plugin is available at such a reasonable cost, and it will pay itself off the first time that you use it. Stop wasting time and go download the free 30-day trial of the BIM Depot plugin tools and see how it can change your Revit workflow. Think about how you're renumbering your doors now. You're likely going in, clicking in your tag, and renumbering manually. This is taking your team hours to complete when it could be taking less than a second. The BIM Depot door number tool is the first one within our series. You can see that it's located all the way to the left of this tab. If we zoom in here, I've highlighted a bunch of these tags. So all of our room tags are highlighted in orange, and then all of our door tags are highlighted in red. What this door number tool does, it automatically reassigns the door number to the room number. This is really common practice within the architectural industry in numbering doors to match the room number. So you'll see right now, which is super common within Revit, is to have these random numbers as it builds it in sequence. So if your doors aren't placed in the same exact sequence that your room number is replaced, it'll sort of generate this random number for it. If you hover over the door number tool, you'll see a tooltip. And then if we click it, you'll see this pop up saying that the doors have been assigned successfully. Click OK. And now you'll see that the conference room number 240 has a door number 240. And then the conference room 241, since there are multiple doors within this room, it automatically adds an alphanumeric suffix to our door number. You can see that this is not only done for the rooms that we were looking at, it's also happening for all of these doors throughout the entire plan. I cannot stress this enough. This is a massive time saver for your team to successfully document your projects in a time-efficient manner. So this next tool is a huge hit between architects and engineers alike. It's also a problem that has been plaguing the industry for as long as PDFs have been around. This probably looks familiar to so many of you when you're flipping through a PDF and you're seeing the views jump around on sheets like crazy with no clear organization or way to align things when you're in PDF or in sheet mode. Here's where the BIM Depot plugin comes in. The Align Views command saves you hours manually aligning views onto your sheets with a few clicks. Once you hover over the Align Views command, you'll see a tooltip pops up. When we click on the Align Views command, you'll see this dialog box pop up. It'll ask to select the source sheet. So that's the sheet you want all other sheets to match, and then select the target sheets. That's the sheets that you want to match the views on. Once you select everything, click Align. And then when we start to cycle through these other sheets, you'll notice that they all match now. Let's show this again, but with a centered plan. Now that we have all these views aligned on sheets, let's go ahead and print. Now that we're in our PDF viewer, you can see that all of our sheets have views that are aligned across the entire set. And the nice thing for this, we can actually start to trace our different markups, copy them, and then paste them onto other sheets. And you'll notice they're perfectly aligned. So all these markups that we're doing both internally and externally for our consultants, it just becomes very easy to copy different markups across the sets and across different markup PDFs. If we were to try to do this in a misaligned set, you'll notice there's no connection between the markup and the plan. It's really just relative to the PDF. So this tool is incredibly useful for markups both internally and externally. This next tool is useful for a very specific reason. So you see here, we have a keynote tag. It's saying to align these two walls. So let's say that we wanted to update our keynote file and then have it say align walls. The way that you would get this to reload after you saved, you would go to annotate. You have to do your drop down for keynote settings, reload, click OK, and then that update is there. There's a much better way to do this with the BIM Depot plugin. Let's go ahead and undo that. So let's modify our keynote file, save it, and let's go here and do reload keynotes. You'll get the notifier that it's successfully uploaded, and then you'll see align. The way that I found this to be incredibly useful, if you go to the View tab, User Interface, Keynote Shortcuts, type in reload in the search bar, and you'll see here reload keynotes, and then this is the BIM Depot tool. Let's go ahead and add a shortcut, assign it, and then click OK. Let's go ahead and update our keynote file again. Hit RK on the keyboard. You'll see that same dialog box pops up, and then our file is now uploaded again. Our keynotes are shown correctly. So the combination of the BIM Depot tool and our hotkeys, we're saving probably about 10 to 15 seconds every time we want to reload a keynote file which happens very often. And it's also saving you a ton of clicks. The next tool in the BIM Depot plugin catalog is the reload links. This one's incredibly simple. It just reloads all the links in your model. This is really helpful for projects that have a ton of different links within them. So say you get updates from your consultants. So we have maybe 6-7 different consultants on a project. Instead of having to go in here and click reload on all of these, it's really just a time saver, saves you some clicks. Maybe you click it and then go get a coffee. This is really just a time saver in that you don't have to be babysitting this thing and having to click reload 6-7 times. And you'll notice that when it's finished, you'll see all Revit links loaded. So that's how you know it was done successfully. The next tool in the BIM Depot plugin is near and dear to my heart. It really is more of a mental tool than anything. Keeps your models clean, and a clean model is good for everyone. So let's say that we have a series of details. Perhaps you imported these from another project or from a consultant, or maybe you're even converting your old AutoCAD detail library into your Revit detail library. So we all know that Revit line styles, AutoCAD layers don't always align. So you'll oftentimes end up with a bunch of line styles that are reading more like AutoCAD layers. So one quick way to kind of convert all of this over, go ahead and click on Reassign Line Styles. So let's say that we wanted all of these default lines that are in here to be converted into our BIM Depot standard line styles. So let's go down, select wide lines. I know this line is a wide line currently. And then let's go ahead and convert that into a number 6. Click OK. And now you've converted all of the wide lines category that's default within Revit into the more specific line style that we like to use. The next tool in the arsenal is called Delete Duplicate Annotations. And what this is, very similar to the Overkill command in AutoCAD. So this is a bit infrequent when this happens, but sometimes you'll see that you have duplicate lines, duplicate annotations, duplicate detail items, and duplicate text. This typically happens as an error, and then it can be a real pain to have to go back and clean up. So deleting these things one by one. So instead of doing that, you can click Delete Duplicate Annotations. You'll get this dialog box that it was successful. After we run that command, we can go back and check and notice that all of this is now just singular. We don't have those duplicates anymore. Our next set of tools in the BIM Depot plugin is to create dimensions. We have 2 versions, for grid dimensions and for level dimensions. So let's go ahead and click Create Grid Dimensions, and you'll see that a bunch of dimensions were actually created. And now we can see, if we pull these up and get them organized, we can see that we now have a dimension string that goes the entire width of the building, but also then dimensions all of the individual grids. And you can see that happen both horizontally and vertically. This is much faster to click this button and then do a little bit of cleanup than to go through and then have to manually click each of these. This tool pairs incredibly well with the dimension text tool. So if this is an existing building, you can select all of your different grid dimensions, go to your BIM Depot tab, and then click Dimension Text. You should see this dialog box that pops up that should look very familiar to when you're editing your dimension text. Let's put VIF at the end so the contractor knows that they have to verify and field the different dimensions. And now you'll see that all of our dimension strings have VIF attached at the end. And it's really just a really fast way to do that across the different dimension strings. So if we undo that and then did this the old-fashioned way, you'll notice that you have to do this for every single dimension within the string. And it really just takes up a ton of time to do this, not only for this sheet, but then you have to do this for every single plan that has this. So this is really just an expedited, great workflow tool that saves you hours and hours of time just trying to get your grids dimensioned properly with the correct liability waivers. Create level dimensions works in a very similar way. So if you click on it, you'll see that our dimension string populates here on the left-hand side. We can pull this to wherever we want to now. Works just like a normal Revit dimension string. And then again, if we want to, we can use this in conjunction with the dimension text tool. And then it automates so much of that busy work that we all hate doing, but have to do it for our construction documents. The next time-saving tool that we have in the BIM Depot plugin is the Create Levels. So this is really a multifaceted tool here. What it does is creates a bunch of different levels, and it also allows you simultaneously to create floor plans, reflected ceiling plans, and structural plans. So let's go ahead and say that we want to create 5 new plans. So you enter the name in, and then you also enter your elevation. And then you can also simultaneously create your different floor plans and RCPs. Once you're done, go ahead and click OK. And now you'll see that all these different levels are now showing up in our elevational view. And then if we come to our project browser, you can see that it created a bunch of floor plans, reflected ceiling plans, and structural plans for all the different plans that we created within that dialog box. You can then go through and treat this like any other view in Revit, and then it gets sorted as such. The Excel round trip tool allows you to export and then re-import different schedules that you have set up within Revit. So let's go ahead and export the schedule here. So click on the button and then schedules to export. You'll go and find the correct schedule. Click Export. Save it to the location of your preference. You'll have a dialog box that pops up saying that it was done successfully. You can then find this within your Windows Explorer, open it with Excel or any other tool that allows importing that file type. And then within here, you'll notice that it's really just the same exact thing as a normal Excel file. We can come in here and start to modify all the different cells. And this is really great because then we can start to modify the schedule in all the ways that we love to use Excel and all the ways that the Revit schedule shortcomings, and we can avoid all the Revit schedule user interface shortcomings. We can quickly take this into Excel, modify it, and then bring it back. So once we're done making these modifications, we'll go ahead and click Save, close out, open Revit back up, and then where it says Excel round trip, let's go ahead and click Import, and then choose that same schedule, Import, and then you'll go ahead and select that same file that we just modified and saved. Click Open, we'll see this dialog box, and then we'll see now all the modifications that we just made are now updated within Revit, and it's acting in the same way that you would expect anything else that was done in Revit, and you can change any of this. So this is just a normal native Revit parameter and element, just as it would be if we modified all of this within Revit itself. The last dropdown that we have within the BIM Depot plugin is a couple links to our sites. So BIM Depot website is the first one. This brings you directly to our Revit page. This has all of our templates, our collections, and our individual Revit families that we have exclusive for our members only. Be sure to follow us on social media. That's YouTube and Instagram, and you'll see all the stuff that we have coming out at a weekly and monthly basis. In our members only area, we are constantly posting updates to our existing Revit families. And then we're also posting a bunch of different new families that we have in development. So again, this is exclusive for our members, and it's something that is available for instant download once they are published. And then finally, a link to our BIM Depot YouTube channel. This is for general Revit usage, and then also on how to use our different families and templates. To download the BIM Depot plugin, go to the Autodesk App Store and search for BIM Depot. You'll see BIM Depot Automation Tools. You have the option for either a monthly or annual subscription. You also see that there's a free 30-day trial, so please be sure to use that and test it to see if it's useful for your workflow. I've also included a link to the Autodesk App Store in the description of this video. Go ahead and check out the free 30-day trial for the BIM Depot plugin.